Hi Verbling, my name's Michaela. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and today we're talking about prefixes and suffixes. I was running a minute late because I was in a private class. If anyone is interested in booking a private class with me, message me on my inbox or just check out my schedule on my profile. Adela, welcome to class.
Hello, Michaela. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. I'm just enjoying a little bit of scenic snow in Prescott, Arizona, before I go back to Phoenix tomorrow. How are you, Adela?
I'm fine, thanks.
Cool.
Good weather in Spain.
Oh yeah?
Yes,
It doesn't
so
snow
so
much there, right?
so hot to winter.
Really?
Yes, don't have uh, don't have a snow. Don't have no rain. Maybe the climate change. I don't know.
Dun dun dun. Global warming.
Yes, yes.
Well, at least you have good weather.
Yes.
All right. Edson, welcome to class. Edson, are you there? Can't hear you, Edson. Now you're muted, but before you weren't, and I still couldn't hear you. I'll come back to you in a minute, and if you... Oh, he's gone. Christian, welcome to class.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Christian. How's your day going so far?
Yes, thank you very much. It was very nice. The weather was so good today also. I think we have a problem with the greenhouse effects because it's very warm, and today we had 12 degrees, and it's not normal for this season, because normally we need to have snow. I'm living in Geneva in Switzerland, and normally it's under zero. It's
Wow.
chilly now. Normally it's chilly at this time, but now it's it's warm. It's like a summer.
Well, there, like Adela said, there's some good and some bad to that. Global warming, bad, but the weather sounds nice. 12 degrees is not so cold.
Yeah, no, it's not normal. It's normally we have this temperature in spring.
So are you
When you,
outside like sunbathing and having a good time?
exactly.
Good, good.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
thank you.
Edson, are you back? Still can't hear you. Try and look at your settings above and maybe um, switch your, oops, okay. All right, Gregor, welcome to class. Welcome back, you should say, because I saw you in my last open class.
Yeah, it's true. Hi again.
Hi. Did you do anything interesting today, Gregor? I mean, aside from my super interesting class, did you do anything else interesting?
Well, I was at work, but I was only for one day, so I don't work tomorrow. I made some Spanish exercise, grammar exercises, listening exercises, but that's all.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
All right, so today we're going to talk a little bit about word formation in English, and it's super interesting, and I think it's helpful with spelling as well as pronunciation. And I want to know if you guys have learned anything else that was super interesting in the past week on Verbling or in your own studies. I want to know what's something super cool or interesting you learned in English or about English in maybe the past week or 2 weeks. Adela, what's the last really cool thing you learned about English or in English? A new vocabulary word or a grammar tip or anything cool that you learned recently?
Maybe I learn in this moment. I'm learning about educational methodology in English because I have an exam.
Ooh.
It's a little complicated, but it's cool. It's different.
So you're learning about how our brains receive the information of language, is that correct?
Yes, competencies, assessment, vocabulary specific about cooperate, peer work, etc.
Very cool.
For students. It's a specific vocabulary, specific.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Adela. Christian, what's the last super cool thing you learned in English or about English?
Okay. Yes, I'm learning now for the moment the job interview in English because I want to apply for a job, and I work a lot. I work a lot, I hit the book. Work very hard, about the job interview and to define the different keyword for the interview, like hardworking, reliable, dependable, helpful, outgoing, honest, cooperative, and to be ready for one interview in English.
Excellent.
I'm not sure but maybe it's working correctly. I don't know.
Well, it sounds like a cool set of vocabulary you learned.
Yeah. I have Excel, Excel sheet, and I put all the keywords inside and the definition at the right side and learn by heart. And the day when I want to go to the interview, I'm sure I want to forget everything at the last moment.
But at least you're prepared and organized. You can't blame your lack of preparation.
No, because I need to have a paper with me. If I have a paper, it's not a problem,
Got it. Without paper, you're lost.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like that too. Even at restaurants, like I decide, okay, I'm going to order a salad. I close my menu, and when the waitress comes by, she says, "What would you like?" And I'm like, and I have to open the menu again, even though it's like all I have to say is salad, but like I stress a little bit, and everything goes right out of my head.
Yes, it's funny. This is, I understand.
Thanks, Christian. Edson, are you there? You're still muted, Edson, so you have to take yourself off mute. That's the little microphone button on the top of the screen. And I'm going to demonstrate for you, Edson, how to unmute yourself in case you're in doubt or any other.
Now it's okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Now it's great.
Excellent. So Edson,
Some connection issues.
Sorry about that. That's frustrating. Edson, can you tell us something interesting you learned in English in the past week or so?
Sorry?
Tell us about something interesting you learned in English in the last week or 2 weeks. Your favorite vocabulary word or grammar tip or something like that.
Oh, I learned some words like imperials, like, let's see another, it's uncanny?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So how would you use
And
that
another
in a
is
sentence?
pardonable.
Huh?
Pardonable. I think this is this the word.
What's
Have
the
you
last
heard?
one? Parsonable?
Pardonable.
Oh, pardonable. Wow. Cool word.
Yes.
Awesome.
I'm
And
having to memorize like 1,000, 1,500 words.
that's a
Can you
lot.
imagine? Yeah, I know.
Are you studying for a test?
Yes, I'm trying to prepare for TOEFL and further GRE. GRE is
Wow.
terrible.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, the GRE is a really intensive test.
Yeah, have you taken it?
I haven't taken the GRE, but my sister and brother both studied very hard for it, and I was there to help them through the process. And it was like the words they ask are insane.
Did they pass the exam?
Yes. And I'm sure you will also.
I hope so.
I wish you luck, Edson.
Thank you.
All right, Gregor, what's the most interesting thing you learned about English in the last week or two?
Well, there was not too many interesting things. What I did, I was reviewing SAT list of words, like 5,000 of words, which because I just want to have a better orientation.
Are you also preparing for a test?
No, it's only for because sometimes I notice that sometimes I frequently struggle with some words that I just don't use or I just don't see. So I was thinking when I will be start reviewing all those words, maybe some of them they will be more clear for me. And it always starts in this way that you're looking at the word, what is it? It's noun, it's adjective, but like you start to know it's positive, it's negative, it's neutral, and later the last step obviously is the meaning.
Yeah.
So I'm using like a different dictionary right now and try to review all of those words. I think I'm started from Z and now is the letter T, so a lot of words to review.
You've gotten through a lot of the letters of the alphabet already. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Very cool. All right. Next up, Jair. Welcome to class.
Hello.
Jair, what's the most interesting thing you've learned in English in the last week or two?
Okay. Last week I was working my pronunciation. I was learning how to use wanna, gonna, and gotta, for instance. And and this is new because I was not using or working this type of pronunciation. And yes, and I hope I'm gonna use next month and 2 months ahead, and my pronunciation will become much better than now, for sure.
So you were using a little bit of reduction or practicing some informal English, little slang.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Jair. Jose, welcome to class.
Hello, teacher.
Good to have you with us. What's the most interesting thing you've learned in English in the past week or two?
The most interesting, I don't know what. I attend some classes about the idioms, about speaking in English, about.
So what's your favorite idiom in English?
My favorite idiom. I know some idioms: couch potato, on the go, pain in the neck, idioms like that. Dark horse.
Sorry, repeat those. I can't hear you very well. I heard something about a potato.
Dark horse. Pain in the neck, couch potato.
Pain in the neck and a good potato, you said?
Yes.
A good potato?
Couch potato. Couch potato. Lazy.
A rude potato?
Couch potato. Couch potato.
Oh, couch potato. Couch potato.
Couch potato. Couch potato.
Okay.
Yes.
Sorry, it took me a second to understand. Yes, couch potato.
Couch potato.
Very
couch potato. On the go. Very active. Dark horse. Lost of words.
Lost words.
Yes, on edge. Things like that.
Got it. Very cool. You learned a lot.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so let's get started with the topic of today. We're going to be talking about prefixes, suffixes, and eventually roots, and learning how we can combine them to make different words, or how you can identify some meaning of other words. So if you see a word you've never seen before, sometimes you can already tell a little bit about its meaning by the parts or components it's made up of. Not always, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So to start the day, I wanted to know if you guys understand the name of the company Verblink, or the site Verblink. We use prefixes and suffixes and roots in this title to create a new word. For instance, Verblink is not a word that we use in English, but it was created from pieces of words. Does anyone have an idea of how we got the word Verblink from?
Yes.
Tell me.
For verbing for verbose and ling for linguistic.
Okay, that's one idea. And to be honest, I'm not sure exactly if that is a more correct interpretation, or there's one other interpretation, because you're right, verb, and ling as in language, but ling has another meaning as well, and it's used in a few other words in English. Does anyone know what the suffix ling indicates?
No. Ling, for me, ling, it's linguistic. No.
Well,
it's a
yeah.
prefix of linguistic, yes.
Yeah.
Lingual.
Sorry, what?
Lingual.
Lingual, okay. So we sometimes see ling as a root, but here it's actually not being used as a root because verb is more the root of this word. So it could be that they put together two different roots and that's how they concocted the name. But ling is also seen in words like duckling or sibling or darling. And that suffix usually means like a little cute thing. So duckling is a little duck, and sibling is obviously a brother or sister. It's another way to say brother or sister, but usually it's ling is associated with an affectionate term. So sibling maybe could be an affectionate term, but also darling is an affectionate term. You're darling. And it's something you guys can get creative with too if you ever want to try and add ling on to the end of something. You could also say something like earthling would be a person from the planet Earth. So it's a suffix that means like some little cute thing. So both interpretations could be possible. I'm not sure the idea of the person who was actually making it. I've always thought like a little cute thing, but it also could be that it has to do with the prefix or the root ling, like language, and verb. Both possible. All right, so let's talk a little more about prefixes and suffixes that you guys already know. I'm sure you guys are already aware of a lot of them, some that might indicate the part of speech or tense. I'm going to start on the right this time with Jose and work my way back. Or for you guys, maybe I should be pointing that way. But Jose, can you give me a couple prefixes or suffixes that you're already familiar with?
Suffixes. Suffixes.
It's tough to go first.
Yes. I think, for example, suffixes full, forgetful, useful.
Yeah, totally. And what part of speech is that? Forgetful and useful.
I think. What part of the speech is a suffix?
So it's a suffix of the word, but
Yes.
forgetful, useful, beautiful, they're all the same part of speech. They're not verbs and they're not nouns. There's some other kind of part of speech. Any ideas?
Okay. I think there are forget adjectives.
Yes, adjectives. So full usually indicates that it's an adjective. And now if you see a word that ends in full and you're not really sure what kind of word it is, you already know it's an adjective. So that's an important piece of information. Thank you very much, Jose. Jair, can you give us another prefix or suffix that you're already familiar with that gives us a little more information about what word it is?
Maybe the suffix I. For instance, employee.
Ooh, EE you mean?
Yes, excuse me. Employee, trainee. Yes, some words like that.
Excellent. Yes, definitely. And what part of speech is that?
It is a suffix, right?
Well, yeah, the ending EE is a suffix. So an employee or a trainee is like a person who does it, meaning it's a noun. Thank you very much, Jair. That gives us a lot of information. If it has that ending, then you already know a little bit more about what the meaning might be.
Okay.
Gregor, how about you? Can you come up with a prefix or suffix that might help us understand a word better, even if we don't know the definition?
So, prefix uncommon, for example, so we have this un. Suffixes, a lot of them, I mean, like in the word minimization, it's shen. Like in this case, we can think about the verb, so we have this I-Z-E, so is. What else? Economics, so it's like E-C-C, where think. So, or yeah, so there's a lot of them. I don't remember all of them, like ly, marginally, gradually.
And what part of speech does that represent?
What part of speech? I mean,
marginally or quickly?
It will be adverb.
Yeah, almost always, not always, but almost always. Adverbs end in ly. So that's a good bit of information. And the other ones you mentioned, like shun, nation, that would be
noun.
Exactly. What about ix? You said economics. What does that ix represent?
How to say? I mean, I'm guessing it will be noun too, because economical, it will be al. It will be adjective.
Yeah. So with adverbs, it's pretty easy because we just have one that represents all adverbs. But with nouns, it's a little more difficult. Sometimes they end in ee or ics or tion or sion. But
And later, there's one issue. Like for example, we have suffixes specific for one version of English that doesn't exist in all, like honor, humor. It's like your art.
Spelling differences.
Yeah, I mean, and there's like minimize. So for example, we have IZE when actually in British, not always ISE.
And what does that eyes represent? Minimize or maximize? What kind of
verb?
Yeah, verb. Awesome. Well, thank you for all that information, Gregor. Edson, you're up. Can you think of any other prefixes or suffixes that you're already familiar with?
Prefix like discourage. Yes,
okay.
Right. It's like this, yeah. And misunderstand and unseemly. And let's see another, like simile, like the suffix, and pardonable.
So for the first one you mentioned, discourage. Which, are you adding a suffix? Are you talking about the suffix dis?
Dis, yes.
And what's the meaning of that? If you see dis, like maybe disassociate, what would dis represent in meaning for that word?
Dis represents a negative word, like if you are discouraged, if you are not brave enough to realize some texts. I don't know, maybe.
Definitely. And that ending edge, like discourage or blockage, is also a typical suffix seen sometimes in English. Do you know what it represents for part of speech?
H. No, you got me. I don't know.
Well, we're actually going to read a little bit more about that one later, so I'll leave that one as a surprise for us. You'll see it on the list of prefixes and suffixes that we're going to look over. Thanks, Edson.
Okay.
Christian, can you think of any other prefixes or suffixes you're already familiar with that you'd like to add to our running list?
Yes, okay, yes. With the prefixes, we can say for the base word like payment, we say non-payment for the prefixes, or maybe for enable, or maybe overcook for the prefixes. And also for the suffixes, we can say it, we can say it, for example, arrival, for example, baggage, oh,
Oh, baggage. We have another edge word.
yeah, baggage, village, or postage, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, ministry, and
And in ministry, what are you looking at? A prefix or suffix there?
suffix.
Yeah.
Suffix,
Cool.
yes. And equality, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uses the same suffix.
Yes, I use the same suffix exactly at the end, yes.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thanks,
Okay.
Christian.
Okay, welcome.
Adela, last up. Give us some other prefixes and suffixes you're already familiar with.
For example, logi, psychology,
Mm-hmm.
methodology.
And what does that represent in English?
Does represent about the sentence, about the
Like part
meaning.
of speech or meaning definition?
The meaning definition is the to study or people have a knowledge about this. And in the speech, I think is a psychology or psychologist is a noun, no?
Yeah, so ist would be a noun, like the person who does something. And ology would definitely be a noun because it's usually a study, some kind of study, scientific study.
Yes.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so I have a few other notes to add before we start to, before we transfer to the document. Most of these prefixes and suffixes come from Latin or Greek. Most of them come from Latin, but not all of them. So that means these words are actually a lot more formal than other vocabulary in English. In words that are less formal, you will not see a lot of these Latin roots and prefixes and suffixes. The other thing that I think is important to note is that suffixes tend to tell us more about the part of speech than about the definition, and prefixes tell us more about the definition than the part of speech, but they frequently give us a little bit of both. All right, any other comments or questions before we get started on the document? Excellent.
No.
Then I'm going to screen share the document. This document is also located on the class page where you clicked to get into class. It's a blue link below the video. So if you need to access it or want to keep it for future use, click on it there. You can download it and save it. So first we're going to talk about suffixes. These are generally more familiar to students because you have to learn a lot about these in order to conjugate verbs and learn about parts of speech, which is stuff that you guys have already done a lot of. So we're going to go over these quickly. And some of these are also ones that you guys have already mentioned. So I can tell you guys will already be pretty familiar with them. Sorry. Okay, I'll ask you guys to read 4 in a row. So just go straight across this line here. You'll read the suffix, the part of speech, and a couple examples. Jose, will you read the first 4 suffixes plus their part of speech and their examples?
Okay. Or noun, teacher, director. Ans, noun, difference, attendance. And noun, deviant, president. Noun, employee, trainee.
Awesome. Gregor, will you read the next 4?
Okay. E, employee, trainee. S, stewardess, waitress. Iron, electrician, beautician. Ism, it will be communism, theism.
And this one is theism. The pronunciation is a little bit different. Thank you very much. I'm going to scroll down. We're going to read all the suffixes, and then we'll go back and talk a little more about them. So the next 4, Edson, will you read the next 4?
Where did you stop?
He stopped
Ism?
at theism, so you're going to start with ix.
Okay. X, noun, mathematics, statistics. Ist, noun, chemist, artist.
Huh?
One more.
Yep.
Et, noun, rarity, velocity.
Thank you very much. And Christian, will you finish up this list for us?
Yes, meant, noun, achievement, astonishment, ness, noun, happiness, fondness, chip, noun, relationship, action, noun, action, coronation.
Excellent. So it's not a complete list of suffixes, but it's a pretty good start. Let me make sure. Oh, we have a few more. These were all the noun-related ones, and the ones below are all about verbs. Adela, will you read our verb suffixes for us?
Yes, ate, verb, deviate, create. Iffy, verb, typify, solidify. Ice, verb, tenderize.
Thank you very much. And the next list is adjectives. And we'll go back to, oh, actually, Adela, read the first one since you only read 3 of the last one. The first adjective, Adela.
Able, adjective, reliable, capable, sensible.
Thanks. The next 4, Andre, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Welcome to class, Andre. We're talking about prefixes and suffixes, and since you just joined and haven't read yet, will you read these 4 endings? Actually, go ahead and just read these 4 plus their examples over here on the right side.
Okay. Au, adjective, comical, radical.
For all 4. So you'll read wonderful, helpful.
Okay, full, wonderful, helpful. Ish, ambish, sheepish, sheepish. Heave, creative, sensitive.
Awesome, thank you. And that word is impish. This one here, impish. Thank you very much. And we're going to scroll down. We've got 1 more adjective and 2 more adverb endings. Let's have Jose read those, and then we'll be finished with all of our suffixes for now anyways.
Each adjective. Impish, sheepish.
Oh, nope, you're below. You're going to read this last adjective line as well as the adverb line.
Aus, yaus. Adjective. Dangerous, impervious. Lie. Adverb. Quickly, happily. Ali, athletically, accidentally.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So those are all the suffixes we're going to talk about today. Do you guys have any questions before I give you a couple exercises with them? About maybe definitions of the words on the right or anything else? If you guys do think of questions, you're welcome to write them in the chat box or just voice them the next time that I ask if you guys have questions. So now that we've looked at a lot of different suffixes, I want you guys to use a couple of them. So come up with a list of at least 3 words that use some of these endings. So try to make it so that each word uses a different ending. But you guys are going to come up with more examples for this side. So you guys can see all these. Just add 1 or 2 words to 3 of these different columns. Does that make sense? And I'm going to ask you guys to write your words because I know you guys will need time to think as well. So when you're ready, write these words in the chat box, and then we'll read them when everyone has entered a word or 2 in the chat box. So try to come up with 3 more examples for the words on the right. And I'm actually going to make this smaller so you guys have a better view. and we'll see if that's okay. Can you guys still read this all right, or is it more difficult now?
It's easier now.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you guys can see more of them even though they're much smaller. So go ahead and take 2 minutes to think of some words and get them into the chat box, and then we'll talk a little bit about them, we'll read them, and move on to prefixes. I see a few excellent words in the chat box. If you're still working, just get in any words that you thought of so we can go over them. I see accomplishment, an excellent addition. We have Canadian and Malaysian, worship, cheerfulness, which actually uses 2 different suffixes. We've got full as well as ness. There's a combination there. That's a great one. Homeless, hopeless, and useless. Excellent, Jose. Thank you very much. Softness, as well as daily, monthly, yearly. Great job, guys. We have some words from Andre that I'm having a little trouble understanding.
Yes, I have trouble. I don't understand exactly what you want.
Oh, well, right now we're coming up with more examples to add to the columns on the right. So, for instance, one student suggested worship, which is another example. Sorry, my thing didn't work out very well. Which is another example of this ending here, ship. So you might see a word like relationship or worship. You guys are coming up with more examples for the right column.
Okay.
Awesome, thank you. Couple other examples I see in the chat box. Drinkable, portable, and flexible. Excellent work, Jose. Pathologist. Acceptation. Okay, and annoyance. Also great words. When you say acceptation, Gregor, could you use that in a sentence for me, how you would use that?
There is no acceptation for the policy created by this political
We do have
party.
the word exception, like this.
It's like acceptation. It's like using a verb accept in the form of the noun. Theoretically, you can do it. You can think of about some examples.
It's an interesting word because I can understand it even though I've never seen it before. Like I could see you're using the root from accept as well as the suffix ation, so it makes sense even though I've never seen it, and I think possibly it does not yet exist in the English language, but it's a great use of your roots and suffixes.
Yeah.
Other examples in the chat box are alleviate, for the verb, column 8. We've got reaction, exception, and from the Google chat box, I see painter, worker, entrance, as well as defiant, actress, autism, scientist, defacement, detachment, ambience, and actor. Well done, Adela. That's a ton of extra examples for us. Thank you so much. And Gregor put in pathologist. Oh, sorry, that was the same list as before. Thanks a lot. Okay. One more, or a couple more actually, from the other chat box. We've got velocity, celerity, and requirement. Wonderful job, guys. You did really well. If you guys still have examples, ooh, I see one more in the Google chat. Minister signed the acceptation of conditions. Okay, so Adela did us a favor and she used the word acceptation in a sentence. Very wonderful job using acceptation in a sentence, Adela. Thank you. Okay, if you guys still have examples, you're welcome to continue putting them in the chat box. We're going to move on, and I see I've already got one more. Amidships. Interesting, Andre. Is that a word in English you've heard before? Or is it one you concocted using our suffixes and roots?
No, it's a new word.
New word. Excellent. Well done. So you used a common suffix as well as a common root. Amid, meaning like in the middle of something? Is that right?
1 minute. I don't. It's the Marion.
Did you say, what did you say? Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
Ship is the.
Is the suffix,
Yeah. Is the.
Yeah.
About the boat.
Yeah, well, so ship, the word means boat, and when it's used as a suffix, it creates a noun. So relationship is the noun form of relation. So to have a relation, you might say, but ship usually is a noun.
Yeah.
I guess relation is also a noun. And worship actually can be a verb or a noun, depending on how you use it. So that one's kind of unique, because sometimes, or in that particular example, it can also be a verb. All right, we've got, oh, friendship is a good example, Adela. And beautify is also great for the verb section. Rarity and curiosity are also great ones, Christian. Okay, so let's move on. We're going to do a quick little exercise. So down here, I've got 3 words that you can change the meaning of or change the part of speech of using different suffixes. Can you guys think of ways to change these words into new words using suffixes? One of them we already have, friendship. So we added ship onto the end of friend, making a new word, friendship. Can you guys think of any other ways we can change these words to make a new word using our suffixes?
For example, with beauty. Yes, beauty. You can say, for example, good looks.
Yeah, you can. But what if we added a suffix onto the word beauty? What kind of suffixes can we add?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Friendly.
So beautiful. What else?
Natural beauty.
Okay, so if you wanted to put it into a sentence and add other words on, we could do that too. We also have the word beautify. or beautifully. So beautifully, beautify, beautiful. These are all ways we can change the meaning slightly of this root word beauty. What about for friend? We already saw one example, friendship. Is there any other way we could change this?
Friendly,
Yeah,
no?
friendly. Yep.
Friendliness.
Friendliness. Excellent.
Unfriendly.
Unfriendly would be a good way to add a prefix onto it.
Unbeautiful.
Unbeautiful. Okay. So, let me think about that one. Unbeautiful isn't a commonly used word, even though it makes a lot of sense, and if you said it, I would totally understand what you were talking about. What about author? How can we change the word author with suffixes? Suffixes we've already talked about, to make a new word.
Authority?
Authority. Great one. Authority. What else?
Authorize.
Authorize. Yes. Anything else?
Author.
I've heard this one before.
Ship.
Authorship. Not a very common one, but I've heard it.
Automatic. No.
Close, but it's not quite the same root, but it's an interesting one that also is created by using these prefixes and suffixes. Okay, so we've talked a lot about suffixes. They're probably very familiar to you already. We're going to move on to some prefixes. Some of them will be familiar, some of them might not. And we have basically the same construction of these columns. We've got the prefix itself, the meaning it loans to the word, as well as an example. And we're going to read these 4 by 4 just like we did the last column. This time I'm going to start on the left with Adela and move to the right. Can everyone still see this okay? Is this large enough for you guys to read?
Yeah, it's cool.
Awesome. Okay, Adela, go ahead and read the first 4, prefix, meaning, and example.
Anti against antibiotic. Antibiotic.
Mm-hmm.
And another, sorry?
4 of them.
Sorry. By, to, bicycle. Contra, against, contradict. Di, to, diameter, dichotomy.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Andre, will you read the next 4?
Next, this. Apart. Away from. Disqualified. Dissolution. Ex, former. Ex-wife. Ex-e. Go out from, exit. The extra. Beyond. Extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial.
Yeah, very good pronunciation. It's extraterrestrial. Extraterrestrial. It's really long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a super tough one. It's, let me see how many syllables. Extraterrestrial. I count 6 syllables. That's a lot.
Extraterrestrial.
Perfect.
Whoa.
You got it. All right. The next 4, Christian, will you read them for us?
Yes. Hyper, extremely, hyperactive. In, im, ill, air. Negative, not, incapable, impossible, illogical, irresponsible. Enter, between, interaction, intermingle. Intra, within, intracoastal.
Thank you very much. The next 4 are for Edson.
Intro, inward, introduction, macro, large, macroeconomics, micro, tiny, small, microscope, miss, wrong, misuse, mono, on, one, monolingual,
Thank you very much. Next 4 is for Gregor.
Multi, many, multinational, neo, new, and neophyte, neonatal, I'm not sure. First time when I see it.
Yeah, neonatal. You pronounced it very well.
Neonatal. Non, negative, not binding. Omni, all, omnipotent. Poly, many, polyglot.
Thank you very much. And Jose, will you do the next 4?
Poly.
Starting with
Post. Post. After. Postword. Pre. Before. Previous. Again. Reply. Rearrange. Retro. Backwards. Retroactive. Semi. Half. Semi-annual. Sub. Under. Submarine. Subordinate.
Thank you very much. And since everyone's gone, I'll read the last 4. We've got super, above, supersede, tri, as in 3, tricycle and triplets, un, as in negative or not, unidentified, and unit, as in 1, unilateral. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing here as we did with the first exercise. I just want you guys to come up with a couple words that use some of these and try to come up with ones that are more difficult to find. Like, for instance, un is a really common one, so maybe stay away from that one and try one that you haven't seen as frequently. I'm going to keep it here, but if you guys need me to scroll up or down, just let me know and I can. So just as a review, you're going to take your time and think of some more examples for any of these prefixes that you can. Excellent job. I see a lot of great examples like anti-terrorism, monolith, hyperbole, introterine? Adela? Sorry, intrauterine. Got it, intrauterine. So that would be something that is inside the uterus, intrauterine. Microwave, macrocosmo, and neoclassicism. Thank you very much, Adela. Wonderful words. We've got interactive, disagree, displeasure, disqualify, extraordinary, and extraterrestrial, discourage, dysfunction, multicultural, retrospection, and misplace. Those are all of the words I see so far. You guys did a beautiful job. You guys can continue putting in examples as you think of them. And a quick little exercise for our prefixes is to change the words hero and inform. What prefixes can you add to hero and inform to create a real English word?
Superhero.
Yeah, superhero. What else?
Heroine.
Okay, heroine, which would make it the feminine form. That's a good suffix. What else?
Heroic.
Sorry, what did you say?
Heroic.
Heroic. Yeah, that's a good way to add a suffix in order to change the word hero. Anything else you guys can think of for the word hero?
Heroism.
Heroism, yes.
Heroism.
Okay, what about the word inform? We haven't done much with that. What else can you add on to inform?
Informal. No.
Informal, okay, that's good. Good suffix. What about prefixes?
Uninformal.
So informal.
Informal, yeah. So formal, informal. What else?
Yeah.
Now, these are using the root form, but we could also use inform plus some other prefixes.
Informally.
Okay, informally.
Disform. Or deform.
Deformed. Deformed would work. Deformed.
Informative.
Disinform.
Informative, yes. Misinform, great.
Disinform.
Dis doesn't work super well. You can say misinform or uninformed.
Okay.
Informative.
Informative, yeah.
Informational.
Informational, yeah, perfect. You guys are awesome. Okay, so we're informal. Okay. We're nearing the end of our time here, but I wanted to call your attention to the roots below where we have tons of other words that have examples over here. And if you guys have any questions as you're reading through this, you're welcome to send me a message in my Verbling inbox just to say, hey, I didn't understand something, or can you clarify anything?
Okay.
And yeah, there's a little exercise down here as well you guys can try, and you can submit them to me or tell me next class or anything else. Do you guys have any other comments or questions before we wrap up today?
No.
No, it's thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you guys, and I'll see you all again soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye everyone.